Shit Dad Podcast.
Celebrating the mistakes that all parents make. You're listening to the Shit Dad Podcast.
G'day, and welcome back to the Shit Dad Podcast. Where we change you from lad to quintessential Aussie dad while talking all of the wins and bins with our fatherhood experiences along the way. I'm Cam.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Dave.
And thanks again for taking the time out of your busy lives, your busy dad lives, to listen to our experiences and share your own.
So much shitdaddery.
Wow, guys, it is Men's Mental Health Week. Really, really important time. So
It's like a week of Father's Day.
It is, but really serious.
The serious Father's Day with no presents.
Now we're going to give some presents of some ideas with our chat that's going to be coming up later.
Yeah, good.
With what we can do, or what you can do yourself, and especially as mates looking out for each other. So
That's right, yeah. So we're very excited to, a bit later on, bring you an interview with the CEO of PANDA, which is Perinatal Anxiety and Depression Australia, Julie Borninkhof. She was fantastic to chat to, really insightful around not just dads, but just men in general with mental health. And we thought, what better time to talk to her than during Men's Mental Health Week? But obviously, before we get to that, don't forget this episode is brought to you by the Dads Clothing Co. Don't forget, jump on their site, jump on their socials, check out the new bubble drop, get those tees and hats as well. Now, guys, episode 92, we are very close to our 100th
We're in the
episode.
nervous 90s.
Yeah, just got to keep coasting. And
as I said last week, just keep your head down. Nothing stupid.
Nothing stupid. Yeah.
Play straight.
Yeah.
But that's a big milestone for us, obviously. So Dave, came on episode 3, and since then we never kind of turned back.
Yeah.
And we thought we need to have a big celebration. We need to get the listeners face to face on board, have a beer or two.
Yes.
So anyone who's local in Brizzy, keep an ear out, because we'll be talking over the next week or so what we're going to be doing for that very special 100th episode.
Piss up.
Yeah, pretty much. But Nick, did you want to take us through your story for the week?
Oh, it's nothing serious, but it's something that's just pissed me off like 2 weeks in a row. So I think I've got not the worst organisation skills since I started adulting, and I feel like sometimes I just drop the ball royally. Like, I was so excited that, as you know, mine and Dave's daughters both do that little sports program on a Monday morning, and I have found a really efficient way to get there on time, and it's throw the boys out the window at the drop and go zone at school, and then just speed straight up the highway and get there. This is the second week I've done it. The second week I've been there 15 minutes early and thought, fuck yeah, I am the man. I'm going for a coffee. So a quick drive down the road and get a coffee. The wait this time wasn't as long, but I still get caught up in the whole coffee vibe and the smell of fresh Arabica. And then all of a sudden it's 9:30 and I'm like, fuck, I'm late again.
Still waiting.
Yeah.
Do you walk out with your coffee though when you get there?
I was like,
so everyone
stroll
knows.
over to sports with my coffee, and Ari's like, my little daughter's just running behind me going, Daddy,
I got no shoes on. Where's my hat?
that's why I forget everything.
You're like, oh yeah, you're here. Did you want a coffee?
So yeah, organisation skills need a bit of work. So possibly like a drive-through coffee on the way, possibly, or just drink the coffee before school drop-off, possibly.
I feel like, depending on the cafe, 15 minutes is enough, isn't
Or
it?
just be 5 minutes late. Who cares? It's like a kid's program. She's running around playing silly buggers. She's never going to even know.
Exactly.
Sorry to Mick if he listens, the coach.
From
Let's be
ants.
honest.
Yeah.
Speaking of silly buggers, I heard my daughter say that for the first time, because they were on the top bunk bed playing, and she just yells out to her brother, "No silly buggers on the top bunk."
That's
I was like,
outstanding.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Good job. That's right.
I've succeeded.
Did you just walk and go, that's right? And you just walk straight back out?
I said, "Who's silly buggering?"
Oh, that
Awesome.
is so good. Boys, you want a joke?
Go on.
All right, here we go. It's an oldie but a goodie. All right. So a man is touring a hospital to see how they operate before potentially donating a large sum of money. The director giving him a tour is taking him around and showing him all of the different rooms. As they're walking, they run into a man who's masturbating. The director apologises to both the masturbating man as well as the potential donor. Once they get out of the room, he explains that the man has a very serious disorder where he has to come multiple times a day or it'll build up and rupture. The donor says, "Oh, I see. That must be so hard for him." And they continue on their tour. A little while later, they come across another room where a nurse is giving a blowjob to the patient, or to a patient rather. Again, they apologise, exit the room, and the donor says, "What the hell? Is this how you run a hospital? This is highly unprofessional." And the director replies, "Oh no, it's the same issue. That patient just has better health insurance."
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What kind of hospital is this?
This is 3 people about to check into.
Oh, wow. Excellent. I don't have a segue from that. But
Hospital trips.
yeah, trashy hospitals. So speaking of trashy hospitals, we've got, as Cam mentioned before, it's Men's Mental Health Week. And the theme of this year's Mental Health Week is healthy choices.
Healthy habits.
Healthy habits.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
healthy.
Same
I've got
thing.
healthy habits and deadly choices mixed up. Okay, so put it out to the masses. What are your healthy habits? Wasn't as successful as I was hoping. I thought a lot more dads would throw out some healthy habits for us, but we did get a few. Do you guys have a healthy habit before we go? Or
Depends. The way that, like, doing a bit of research around this kind of men's healthy habits health week, focus and what it's all about. They section it off into a few different areas, and one of those is healthy connections, and that's exactly what we're doing now. But also, but also, I think I try to make an effort with mates who aren't dads too. I think just those people you've known for years and years, and I think it's quite hard to keep up some of those friendships. But that's something I always make a lot of time to do. So I feel like that's a healthy habit as well.
Yep.
Definitely. Look, I think mine just kind of goes around, like, and it's like a different monthly thing or weekly thing. So last month it was like looking after myself a bit more with alcohol intake and stuff, and did the month. And that's now kicked me back into going, well, I don't need it every day, or I don't need it every, just have a cup on the weekend and whatnot. So that's kind of kicked me there. Again, every Monday night when I come down here, connections with the boys,
Yes, sir.
which is great. But I'm trying to be better on my phone
Yeah.
when I'm at home and just being present with the girls.
Yeah.
So again, we've gone over those ideas of playing hide and seek and doing all those things with the phone. But now I just literally go put it in the bedroom and put it on charge.
Yeah.
The problem is I've done it when the missus has been out and it's just me and the 2 girls. And obviously she's texting on like, how the girls, you're putting in bed kind of thing. Because they're both, well, the 1-year-old's a boob girl and doesn't take a bottle. And then I'm just like freak out.
Like father, like
What
daughter.
are you doing? I'm an everything man. But no, and so that's kind of worked kind of negative. But no, like just putting it away,
Yeah.
just being present.
Nice.
Yeah,
Try.
That's a really good one.
Well, I know Cam wants to talk about this a little bit later, but so I'll
Yeah.
get to the listener messages. We had have a glass of water first thing in the morning to flush the demons out. Add a bit of lemon juice and a pinch of salt. So it's like adding electrolytes first thing in the morning. That was me actually. I'll put that one up. But you feel weirdly good.
Is the salt good for like absorbing water? Like it's a bit like you retain the water or something?
Yeah.
That's what
I don't know. I got told to do it once, and I was just like, oh, I did it once. I felt amazing, so I was like, all right, doing this
there you go.
forever. Yeah, it's good.
A certain amount of salt's good for your muscles and stuff like that, obviously. So that's like when you're playing sport and stuff, that the cramping
Yeah.
is obviously the salt intake and the all of that. So
Try it.
I don't
Honestly,
know.
try it. If you try it, you like it feels like your organs are getting a bath first thing in the morning. You just feel every drop go down, and you feel before your coffee, before your brekkie, do anything. But yeah, that's
I have actually heard
good
that
healthy
too.
habit.
Talking about coffee, because like my first drink that I want every morning is my 15-shot coffee.
Yeah, spend $2,000 on the coffee machine. That happens.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. But I've heard like from a fair few people too. Make sure you have a glass of water beforehand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? I don't want water in the morning. I want coffee. But obviously, it does. It helps set
Something to do
everything
with
up.
metabolism as well.
Yeah, probably.
a mum here. Great work on raising dialogue on men's health and mental health. So thank you, first of all, for a mum listening to the Shit Dad podcast. I know we have a few, so I appreciate the listen. And yeah, this is what we aim to do every year. So or every time it comes up, we want to really push it. Let all the dads know that they're not alone, and it's healthy to get out and do stuff for yourself and improve your mental health. Not pissing Alina off. I take it that's his daughter. Could be his wife as well.
Probably his wife.
Yeah, probably. Healthiest choice for mind, body, and soul. And one thing a week, just me, no wife, no kids. Clear the mind and fill the proverbial cup.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty important.
Yeah.
I think that's unreal because I think it's clearly filling the cup, but it's probably emptying the other cup as well.
The shit.
You know what I mean? Like gets the good in, but it's releasing all of those tensions that that we all build up, and then leading on to that snap that we talk so often about.
100%.
So that's unreal.
Awesome. So I mentioned the theme for Men's Health Week was healthy habits. We've got 4 different things that essentially it says 4 habits for mentally healthy men. And I thought this was quite interesting because it spoke about healthy body. So it's all around eating well, exercise, reducing alcohol, which is, I guess, where your mind goes to.
Yeah.
Healthy lifestyle, taking care of relationships, work life and social life. Relationship with your partner, your colleagues. Yep.
Oh, fuck.
Keeping your job.
Yeah.
Healthy mindset, be mindful, set goals, reframe unhelpful thoughts.
That's cool.
Once again, more of an internal thing. And then the healthy connections, talk with mates, know when and where to get help.
How does one reframe? Well, what was the wording?
Reframe
your
unhelpful
mindset.
thoughts.
And how would one do that? Would you
This is
say?
something that I've been doing lately as well. So especially in the workplace, you can have a lot of like self-doubt around what you're doing, imposter syndrome, that type of thing.
Okay, yeah.
And I guess an unhelpful thought would be like, just being negative and down on yourself. I can't do this, or I don't know what I'm doing, or this is too hard. I'm going to, put in that too hard basket, worry about it later and focus on something else. So I think for me, it's more around just reframing things. You might like, actually, no, you're going to kill this. You're going to be awesome at it. Just go and do it. More of a positive spin, I'd say. It's kind of how I do it in my mind, if from a work sense.
Yeah.
From a family or kids sense, probably some of the things we speak about, which is around just being present, and if an unhealthy thought is around like I'm getting mad a lot, then you can like do that stopping and pausing and resetting yourself. So I think a few different ways you could possibly apply it, whether it's work or social.
So
home.
it's a pretty active thing. It's happening all the time. It's not just something you can just say, all right, I'm going to do this now.
Yeah.
It's the difference between that fixed mindset and growth mindset kind of things. For kids, it's a lot. It's based around the kids essentially that I deal with, but it works for us. Fixed mindset is that like, oh shit, I suck at this or whatever.
Yeah.
But that growth mindset is, like, well, like I'm not good at it, or no, I can nail this. Like Cam said,
take it one, like make a list and knock off the easiest thing on the list, and then keep working that way.
Well, for the Star Wars fans, like one's a Vader mindset and the other one's a Yoda mindset.
Well, that is just something very relative. I can relate right to that.
Good.
One final thing before we move over to the interview for the listeners. The healthy connections thing. So talking with mates, knowing when and where to get help. Obviously, our chat with Julie is going to be really great for that too. But something that resonated with a few listeners off the back of last week was your comment, Nick, around dad network or dad community. And a few listeners have messaged in saying, they've kind of realised that, they don't really have that big of a network at the moment. So thanks for those people who have reached out and mentioned that. It's definitely something that I think we all go through, and what I've noticed lately as the kids have gotten older into the kindy stage, you guys are probably across it from a school point of view. I've been able to make a few new dad friends with the kindy dads.
Yeah.
We're doing a Bunnings sausage sizzle in a couple of weeks' time, which
Outstanding.
I'm excited about. We've done a few birthday parties. The kids are just really, absolutely just like best mates. And the dads are also just really just awesome blokes. So that's been a nice little outlet as well. They live locally, live near the Bowls Club. So my advice, I guess, would be, lean into some of the the local school or kindy networks if that's kind of what you're about. Easy way to make friends or have a bit of chat with the bloke, because you just kind of talk about the kids for a while until you figure out what you got in common.
Got in common, yeah. It's one of those things that it's something like making dad mates is something you just have to get out there and try and do. You can't just it's not just going to fall in your lap. You have to network. You have it's as gay not as dorky as that sounds. You have to network. You have to put yourself out there and really push but don't force it, obviously. But like you said, talk about the kids, because that's the first thing you've got in common is the kids, and then from there on, you watch any footy, and then
It's a day for it.
Yeah, it's a day for it. It's fucking good drying weather, this. And then all of a sudden you're talking about the mighty Broncos and their dominant run. But yeah.
Next minute they're just sitting in your garage having a beer with you, and there's not even any kids around.
I can honestly say that
the kids are in bed and you haven't. Yeah,
I've
you're
made
actually
about
having
5
drinks.
dad mates in my suburb just from doing that.
Yeah.
Started doing driveway beers. I just made a group chat with the boys and we started talking shit from guys I just sort of knew in the area. And then all of a sudden we were having driveway beers, and then driveway beers turned into, do you want to bring the kids over for a play? And now 2 weeks in a row in June, I'm going camping with 2 different families who have met in Griffin. So it's like one of those things that if you can put yourself out there, people will come.
Yeah.
I've seen signs up around our neighbourhood that says, instead of garage sale, it says driveway beers. Contact vets.
If you put my phone number up in Griffin, I'll cut sick.
Garage ales.
Yeah, there you go. Garage ales.
Garage ale,
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, that's good.
All right, so without further ado, here's our interview with CEO of PANDA, Julie Borninkhof. This is Men's Mental Health Week, and we're joined by a very special guest this week, Perinatal Anxiety and Depression Australia CEO, Julie Borninkhof. So we're really excited to have Julie on board tonight, especially on a really important week. And I've stalked your LinkedIn. I've stalked a few different things online, and I was able to find out that you're a clinical psychologist and a recognised leader in primary health sector. So thanks for coming on board tonight.
Thanks so much for having me. It's such a great pleasure to be here. Love doing these kind of spots.
Now, we're really excited because you got in contact with the podcast to share some really important research that's just been conducted. So we'd love it if you could explain, a bit about yourself, what you do at PANDA, and then also what that research has shown.
Yeah, brilliant. So, as you said, my name's Julie. I am a clinical psychologist by trade, but just a really passionate advocate, really, for building the healthiest humans we can for the future. You know, life is hard enough as we know it without, putting in place all of those sort of fundamental building blocks that we know we need to do. And that's why I get to do the amazing work I do across my career. But more importantly, what had brought me to PANDA, because this is an organisation that was growing out of people's lived experience of perinatal mental vulnerability. And when we talk about that period, we're talking about the pregnancy period and the first year of the bub's life. And, PANDA has this amazing capacity to be able to support people through our national helpline and all of the range of things that we do. And we're free to community, so we target the most vulnerable community members as our baseline. And we just get to do absolutely amazing stuff. And when you mentioned our research, I think it's a bit cooler than just research. Not that there is a just research, but really we're talking into the, thousands and thousands of mental health checklists that people have completed on our website. And we are just absolutely thrilled to see that there's been double the rate of men going in and undertaking these checklists to really get a kind of a pat down on how they're going psychologically, and whether or not, their experience is normal or not.
Right. Can you tell us a bit more about the checklists and where people can find them?
Yeah, so our checklist sits on our website, which is at panda.org.au, and all you have to do in the search function at the top is chuck in checklist, and it'll come up with the entry page. And the checklist is broken down, and in this context for dads, it says ask simply whether or not you're a new dad, so you've just had your baby and you're post-birth or after birth, or whether or not you're expecting, and so a dad currently in that waiting pregnancy period where the angst is kind of building. Um, and really, you just click on that link, it takes you into the checklist, and it's a 30-question questionnaire that we developed in collaboration with our community. So it's not a clinical measure. We heard from our community that people were really sick of being assessed at this time and really just wanted to get a plain English look at how they were travelling. So there's 30 questions that explore thoughts, feelings, and behaviours. And once you've completed that, it gives you a bit of a rate on how you're going and whether or not the experience you're having and the way that you're, coping in the world is normal or whether it's something that would benefit from getting, an expert involved or a service like Pandas or one of our many partners.
Can I ask what PANDA stands for?
Sure, it's a bit of a misnomer our name. So it stands for Perinatal Anxiety and Depression Australia,
Okay.
but it used to be Post and Antenatal Depression Australia, which is where it was originally founded, and that was when 40 years ago. We're 40 years old this year. That was when people, really didn't understand that you could become depressed or anxious prior to the birth of your bub. So really, though, now Panda supports all ranges of mental vulnerability and well-being difficulties. We really don't want people to feel that they have to have a diagnosis or really even understand what it is they're going through. They just have to know that it feels like shit and that they want help, essentially. And that's why it's really important that people understand that our name is there because people love our brand. But, really we're supporting people with whatever it is that they feel that they're mentally not feeling is right at the time that they reach out for support. And we do support people with all range of mental vulnerability, including those who are experiencing suicide risk in the perinatal period, which is pretty full on for those who are going through that.
I can't believe you said it's 40 years this organisation's been. This is this is amazing. Obviously,
Yeah.
I only found out that perinatal stress in a bloke was a thing like a year ago on this
Yeah.
podcast.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's obviously amazing things yourself and the organisation are doing in the community. So I just wish there was obviously more information out there about that.
Mm.
Is that something that Panda's doing at the moment as well, trying to share more and more information?
Oh, completely. So, we have always worked in a space where we try to raise the community's awareness of, the possibility that they could become vulnerable in this period and what to do when they do. But, we also know that culturally we're not really in a space and still fight to recognise that mental health affects men, and to try and think about the way in which, mental health services have those conversations for blokes is really important. And Panda also recognises that, the name Panda and the services we offer may not be as welcoming in terms of, accessing and reaching out to Panda for support, and, as normalised for men. But we are doing more and more work in this space. And, over the last 40 years, we have always supported men. Originally, we supported more men because they were ringing out of concern for what their partners were going through, and COVID really swapped that about. So we've seen a complete switch in the number of guys that are reaching out for their own mental health and well-being, which is really cool.
Why do you think that is? What is it about COVID do you think brought that along? Just the lockdown periods or?
Yeah, look, I reckon, and again, completely unqualified because nobody's really been able to do the longitudinal research and overlay that with pre COVID rates.
Yeah.
But I actually think that personally, the conversations I get to have, which I feel very lucky to have as a leader nationally of a mental health org, really indicate that there was a real leveling of people's experience, that it was kind of a given that we were all having a really crap time, and that it was easier, I think, for people to open up conversations and inquire about their mental health and well-being than ever before. And so much was put into saying that everyone is struggling. So when you put your hand up as somebody who is, it wasn't like that, oh, well, you're a standout, from everyone else. And we know that that happened not just for blokes, but for, people from all sorts of communities, our LGBTIQ, communities, our culturally and linguistically diverse communities. We saw people in particular cohorts that were reaching out for support like never before. And that's a really good thing. Like, we're so thankful for that.
As great as it is that people reach out and like ask for help and like seek that route for getting better or not get better quotation marks, but would you have any advice just in your line of work and the experience you've had in the industry for what blokes can do within themselves before coming for help?
Yeah. And look, we talk about this a lot internally, and if I had the sort of health promotion funding that we would love as an organisation, we would be doing a lot more about that. As you're thinking of a family, of kind of getting the nursery ready, or you're thinking about planning for a baby, or you're packing your bag to go to hospital. Don't forget to pack some of those wellbeing strategies that you just naturally put in place, because I think it all falls away the minute you become stressed. And when I used to work clinically, I was often saying to people, prepare now for the days that are going to feel awful, so, and not just in relation to childbirth, but we should always be trying to stop and reflect on the things that make us feel whole and that are uniquely ours. For some people, that's, singing. For some people, it's, playing footy. For some people, it's having a beer with your mate or whatever. But quite often, it's those tiny little things that can kind of reset you, that you forget about when you lose touch or your kind of routine's disrupted. So it's really important that people feel able to tap into those things, and that we get people before they are struggling to recognize what their unique life feels like when it's going okay, because it quite quickly can slip downhill when a new little bub comes into the mix, as you three would
Ain't that the truth? Yeah.
Yeah.
know.
We've got a lot of first time dads, expecting dads who do listen. So this is obviously great advice. Do you have any examples of some of the signs that either dads or even their partners might be going through if they are experiencing any of that perinatal anxiety and depression?
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think it's equally more important than ever, I think, to be thinking about how, well, what normal felt like, or, what your unique kind of requirements are in life. Because when you have a new baby, many of the things that we would assess as symptoms of not doing so well are just really normal disruptions of having a screaming, puking baby in your life. So things like, we're always asking people about how much sleep you're getting. Are you sleeping when the baby's sleeping, or when those opportunities arise that other people are able to support you, or help you? Are you eating normally, as in not eating too much, not eating too little, but taking care of yourself? For men especially, we want to be thinking about whether or not they're, self medicating either through alcohol or drug misuse, because we all know that people want to avoid distress, and that is often a really simple way to do it and not a healthy one. We're also looking at whether or not people are overworking. Often men have um, need or feel that they want to feel functional. And when life feels out of control, quite often that means turning into the things that you do get a sense of identity and sense of achievement from, which can be work. So men often overwork, rather than going home and feeling like they don't know what the hell's going on with a new bub. Um, and disengaging from, your supports or from the things that you do, like I said before, that just make you feel normal. So, quite often it's, pulling back from mates, pulling back from family, not going out to the shed and working on stuff the way they would have, or any of those things that kind of make them feel functional. And, when it comes to more of the symptoms, so anxiety and depression, we're looking for things like thoughts that won't go away, feeling like you're kind of knotted up like a rubber band and ready to snap because you're feeling really high, high frequency kind of stress, or whether you're feeling just completely flat, want to crawl under the doona of your bed and not get out because, you want the world to go away.
So I've noticed a lot of people saying that you do move away from your, like, distance yourself from your friendship group and your support network when you are feeling those feelings. And that's from the other angle, from your mate's angles, when's the time to check in on a friend that might not be doing so well? Is that the only sign that you know of, or are there other ones?
Oh, look, no, I think, there's often a whole lot of times that people say, we have callers that will say, I noticed something was going wrong when they stopped laughing as much, or,
Okay.
they weren't ringing me, or, quite often too, and there's some really cool artificial intelligence stuff out mapping this in the mental health space, not engaging with social media as much. So you may have a mate who you're constantly connecting with over Facebook, and all of a sudden they just go quiet. And again, that could be because they're just overwhelmed and trying to play happy families with their new partner, with their bub and their partner. But it can also be a moment in which you just go, hey, I'm curious about what's going on, because that doesn't really feel right. And we also know, Nick, that lots of people say that they wish they had reached out and said, hey, you're tracking okay sooner, but they didn't because they didn't know what to do
Okay.
when that conversation opened up. So we're always saying on the helpline, there is no right time, to have a conversation. The time in which you think, oh, something's up here, is the time to do it, and don't go into the conversation feeling like you have to fix it for the person.
So is that probably the biggest advice that you would give to, I guess, mates and family who are reaching out? Just don't go in there. I suppose,
Yeah.
like a typical male, we go into a lot of things going, there's a problem, or I think there's a problem, let's go fix.
Yeah.
So just be an ear.
Yeah, completely. And, I think whatever you can do is a good thing. If it is that you can fix it because you've heard this talk and you know about Panda or our amazing partners like SMS for Dads and things, then that's golden. But if you go into it and all you are is unpacking the initial parts of a conversation, then that's okay too. And we know that quite often there's this kind of theory of threes with, anything that doesn't feel right. And that's, you kind of need it presented to you that you're not being seen to be as capable as normal three times, and whether it's somebody going, hey, are you all right today? You look a bit tired, or, a partner saying, you just didn't deal with that as you normally would have. But often there are 3 points at which somebody is kind of had that reflected back to them before they go, oh, hang on, others are picking up on this, what's going on.
Yeah, right.
That's really good to know that three. Yeah. Again, like in our conversations we've had, and like I guess chatting to the boys here on the podcast, for over a couple of years or whatever now. In the research that I've never come across that too. So that's really interesting, especially for our listeners to go, well, 3 different points of call, or three things. Yeah.
And that's why there's only 3 of us on the podcast and not 4. So if two say you're not looking so good, you can just sweep it under the rug.
The fourth's going to be obsolete.
Do you think a lot of the attention that's been placed on men's mental health, things like the Boys Do Cry campaign that you might have seen recently, do you think these are things that are contributing to that more acceptance of people, of men asking for help compared to maybe a couple of years ago?
Yeah, look, I truly hope so. I think, government has put so much money into ensuring that we're talking about men's mental health differently, that we're collaborating with men to better understand how to have the conversations and how to verbalize that help is available, that you would hope that it's paying off, it's taxpayers' money that's going into it. But, I think anything like a conversation like this has such a ripple effect, to, connect with even just 1 or 2 people that then go on to have a good experience because they sought support earlier. I think there is still a lot of work to do, and especially in this sort of time of your life when you have a look, all you have to do is walk into a baby store and every single thing you pick up has a happy family on it. Every single thing has a mum and a dad with their arm around each other and a new baby in their arms almost,
Anger doesn't sell, Julie.
And so yeah, no.
If dad's over his kid like that, it's not going to sell as well as the happy family.
And I would say, Nick, that that's a really good thing because we don't want that
That's
to
right,
get
yeah.
to that point, or anyone to. But,
That's right.
again, unless we actually break down the fact that, it's not all golden and shiny, and actually start to get real about the fact that this is a really big point of disruption, but people survive it and people have amazing relationships with their partner and with their bubs. And some days you're going to love it and some days you're going to hate it. And that's all right.
Very, very relevant for a lot of us right now,
Yeah.
and a lot of our
So,
listeners.
yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah,
why our whole premise is around, there's going to be the good days and the bad days.
Yeah.
So it's about,
Yeah.
talking about it and, embracing all of it.
Completely. And, just giving some tools to surf that, up and down, I think is really important. And it generalizes across all ages and stages of life. If you can teach each other to be gentle with yourselves, and know as much as you can about yourself and the people you care about, then, you're already 10 steps ahead.
That's excellent advice.
Now, I don't know if you guys had any more questions, but I thought,
No.
Julie, if you want to remind our listeners of, what would you love them to do off the back of listening to this tonight?
Yeah, look, firstly, I think if you're having, a rough time and you really do want to check in, not because you're falling apart necessarily, but just because you want to be a better dad or you want to know that what you're going through is real, reach out to our helpline on 1300 726 306. And we have an amazing workforce of men and women, some who have their own lived experience of, vulnerability at this time, and others who clinically specialised in this time, or look at our website and have a look at the resources. We've got some amazing videos, from dads who share their experience and fact sheets, or connect up with some of our partner organisations like SMS for Dads. And I don't know if you guys have spoken to them, but SMS for Dads is a really cool hip pocket medium where you go online to the website, you put in your details and register, and then you get SMSs. Essentially, it's two-way, so you can be engaging back with SMS for Dads, but really gives you a bit of a read on things to be looking out for your own mental health. The service checks in with you from time to time to see how you're travelling, and if you are actually having a rough time, you get escalated and into our service, and we then ring dads back and have a chat with them and see how they're travelling, and provide ongoing support. But also it gives you some tools that you can be putting in place, and some reminders around your partner's mental health and wellbeing and how to connect with your babies, because we know, our data shows that 67% of dads feel really unconfident with how to be a father and engage with their babies, which, when you think about how that overlays into just wanting to be there, because nobody gives you the tools and the tricks.
I would have thought it'd be closer to the 90%.
Well, yeah, but this is those who are willing to say it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you've always got to add some more, but it's really real. We know that over 70% of dads feel sad and isolated, at this time in their life, and that's big to admit.
Wow.
Shouldn't be, but it is.
No, that's right.
Yeah. No, we really appreciate you coming on tonight. And as mentioned, we would love to any of the listeners to reach out to either the phone services, the web services, or SMS for Dads. Sounds fantastic.
Everything will be in the show notes for
Yes.
any listeners.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your time
Brilliant.
tonight. Thanks, Julie.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you so much, Nick, Cam, and Dave, for having us on board, and thanks for having this conversation. It's such an important one. Really appreciate it.
Before you go, Julie, I hate to put you on the spot, but I don't really. As a mother yourself,
Do it.
do you have any funny mum stories or shit mum moments that you'd like to share?
Oh, mate, so many. I think the shit mum moments resonates with me the most. And look, I have to say that most of them have come. My daughter is 11 years old, and I would say that most of them come now as she's testing the boundaries and, really defining herself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just sounded like my own mother or
Awesome.
father in that moment. But
Awesome.
Well,
Well, I
there are
guess
plenty of them, and that's normal.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I guess last week did mention that he's really getting his rocks off on embarrassing his kids at the moment. So maybe when she brings her first boyfriend home, just stand there in like a full Superman costume or just something really weird. Trying to give him a
I
scare.
have to say, my husband loves nothing more than standing out in his hoodie when my daughter has her mates over and saying embarrassing things to
Perfect.
her, and I just laugh.
That's the good gear.
You got it ready. All good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Julie.
No, we appreciate it, Julie. Thanks very
Pleasure.
muit's
Thanks for having me. Hey.
Cheers.
Catch you later.
All right, holy moly, what a chat. That was unbelievable.
That was great.
I think she's covered everything without us really having to ask many questions. But
Guests like that are amazing.
Oh,
where
man.
it just flows,
Yep.
and then our questions just go.
they just talk what we want to hear.
Oh,
Yeah, and I think what's great is that they reached out to us to speak to our listeners and our networks. So, thanks Panda for reaching out.
Definitely.
you.
But now, guys, it's time for a jingleless dad trivia. Dad trivia. Close. All right, so we're going to do a quick fire trivia this week because it is mental health related. I think it's there's some facts in here that is more to give facts rather than for you guys to guess. So we'll just go with it. Bear with me, and we're going to go. I've got 6 questions for you. Right. Question number 1. In Australia, what proportion of people will experience some kind of mental illness in the course of a year? 1 in 3, 1 in 5, 1 in 6, or 1 in 10?
3.
1 and 3.
1 in 3?
Yeah. Answer is 3. Lock it in, Eddie.
1 in 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 1 in 5 people.
I'm actually glad we're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because,
Well, the worst. Yeah, well, you're wrong on that one in a year. But I was reading that 1 in 2 people in their lifetime. So that's pretty good numbers for a year, but not so much in a lifetime. So
No.
but you've got to remember as well. These figures come from like a pretty small research pool. Like it's not the whole population of the world.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
All right. What is the most common mental health illness in Australia? Eating disorders, depression, anxiety, or epilepsy?
Sorry, the last one.
Anxiety?
Yeah, I think anxiety.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Correct. Ding, 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 ding. So
Epilep-
14% epilepsy is that? I don't even think that's a.
Did you just throw that in?
No, that was-
4.
I,
Because I'm like, sorry, but that's a what?
this
That's
isn't a
mental-
Nick thing. This isn't a Nick quiz. I took it a mental health trivia online. And
Okay.
I thought it would be a good one to share. So
No, that's okay.
14%. 14% of people in Australia with mental health issues is 14% of people have admitted to having anxiety in some point in their life. But the next biggest is depression and alcohol abuse at only 4%. So anxiety by far
Wow,
is
yeah.
the worst.
Yeah.
So
I think it's,
most common. Sorry.
well, when I say, most common, everyone faces anxiety. Everyone does, from all ages.
Yeah.
You know, from the time you practice, well,
Yeah.
can't say born to the
No.
time you die, but it's how you have your coping mechanisms
Yeah.
to deal with it. You know, does it become a crippling thing?
Yeah.
Or, you know, like obviously it builds, but, or is there a, you know, PTSD kind of, you know, trauma event that has caused that anxiety?
Yeah.
But everyone faces it. So just make sure if you're out there and you are,
It just depends on
talk
the
to people.
severity.
Yeah,
Depends on the
talk to
severity.
people. Yeah.
But it's all relative as well. Like we say with most things, it's all relative. Like your anxiety, which might be really hectic compared to my anxiety, which is piss weak. Oh my God. Like Manchester United lost the soccer. I'm just,
Yeah.
it's
But
all
it's
relative.
important
That's
to you.
because it's
Yeah.
important to me. Like, so anyway. All right. Question number 3. What percentage of Australian population experience a panic attack at some point in their life? 10, 20, 40, or 60%? At some point in their life, a panic or anxiety attack.
Wouldn't be the big ones.
It's a big jump between 20 and 40. 20.
40%
Fuck.
of the Australian population experience a panic attack at some point in their life.
Wow.
So 14 million people.
But 5% manage a panic disorder for life. 5% of people in Australia have a panic disorder. What this is going, like I said
This is
before, this is
giving
going
me-
off like some person's, like some company's research, not just like the entire
This
population.
is giving me a panic attack. Listen to
Isn't
this.
it? I know, it's all doom and gloom, isn't it? I think we're more trying to get to the point that, there's things like Panda and
Yeah.
Dad Text or whatever it was.
SMS.
SMS
SMS
dads.
dads. There are services out there for pretty much everything. So
Yeah.
it's, if you feel like even the smallest thing, just seek help. What percentage of fathers will experience postnatal depression? 10, 20, 40 or 60?
Dude, just stick with 20.
20. 20.
2 for 20.
This time you're right.
Yeah.
20% of fathers.
It's a lot.
It is.
Too many.
But is that, again, like our chat?
Yeah. Well,
It's probably plus some,
Yeah.
but it's the 20 that have said it.
Yeah.
Or, sought help.
Did she say 60?
67.
It's like 67%.
Seven, yes,
So maybe I've highlighted the wrong thing here. Let's go with her. Let's go with Panda. It's 67%.
So the answer's 67.
The answer's 67%.
Got it.
So none of the above was E. All right. Are men or women more likely to seek help to improve their mental health?
Yeah.
It'd have to be women.
It's just a given. So I'm surprised it took you so long to answer that.
Well,
So-
I thought it might have been your trick question.
No. Well, women are far more likely historically to speak about their feelings. 1 in 4 men who experience anxiety or depression seek help of the research group, obviously.
Feelings, what are they?
Yes, correct. All right, last question, boys.
Oh,
This is the big one. This is more of a fact than anything. How many suicides occur each year in Australia? 100, 500, 1,000 or 3,000? All are way too many.
I was just going to say too many.
Yeah.
The top ones.
Yeah. Aye.
3,000? Bang on. In Australia, suicide is the leading cause of death for males and females aged between 15 and 44. In a typical year, about 3,000 people in Australia die by suicide. That's an average of 8 people every day.
That's insane.
Isn't that fucked up?
Oh,
75% are by men, even more fucked up, which an average of 6 men taking their lives every single day. Suicide is the leading cause of death for men under the age of 54, significantly exceeding the national road toll. Depression is a high risk factor for suicide. Fucking get help, boys. That's all I have to say.
it's gone are the days where you're going to be man.
Yeah.
You know, just fuck.
That's what
I reckon you're less of a
Julie
man if
was
you don't.
saying around this generational shift.
Yeah.
You know, so I think our generation has the ability to obviously do it for ourselves, do it for our kids in the next generation, but also normalize it for the older generation,
Yeah.
which is a little harder to do. But
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
All right. We'll lighten the tone a little bit now, guys. It's time for the ABCs of fatherhood.
Oh, I don't know.
We're going to write the ABC of shitdaddery, what not to do. Each week we'll bring a piece of shit dad advice corresponding to the letter of the alphabet relative to this episode, which is P for panda. I'm pretty sure we haven't done P yet, but I didn't check.
No, we haven't. But I've also got a jingle
Okay.
that I just made up. So it's not on the pad.
Oh.
Okay.
A, B, C, shitdaddery, 1, 2, 3.
I was literally thinking of that tune in my head just then.
We have to do something with that.
All right.
Of course we do.
All right.
Of course we do.
Listeners, listen out next episode for that recording.
Oh, man, that's pressure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can I go first?
Yeah.
Of course you can.
Picture yourself as your kid when you catch yourself being angry with them, because they learn to regulate their emotions by mirroring us. Unless you imagine yourself as your kid giving you the finger, then go for gold. That's my dad advice.
That's very good.
Oh, that's good. Mine is pull my finger, the timeless classic. Obviously, it's a dad joke tradition that never gets old. Make sure you use it sparingly and be prepared for the inevitable giggles and possibly the not so pleasant odour. But never use it at a parent-teacher interview.
Oh, awesome.
And much better than mine. Mine was just prees. When you're having pre-drinks, wait till your kids go to bed. So they don't see you.
Super responsible.
You know, before you go to the clubs.
Oh, the clubs.
The club.
Oh, my God. That's good.
Oh, love it.
That's still pretty good. I'll pay it. What do you reckon?
Do it.
Shit that moment of the week. Wrong.
What is going on?
Shit that story of the week.
Oh,
It's so much more abrasive.
it's back to normal.
Oh, gosh.
Nick, you mentioned you've got a listener story.
I do. So, I had a listener mum moment. I was like, just random conversation. She was asking for some firefighter advice for her partner and stuff. And I was like, and now I need some of your yo shit mummery. And she goes,
Did she know what that meant?
yes, she follows us on Instagram and Spotify, so thank you. Me this morning, shoving a Panadol tablet in a banana like my 11-year-old is a dog, taking a worming tablet because she's got a temp and can't swallow pills. Then me screaming at her to eat it while she's sobbing with a 38.4 degree temp. That's so good. That's like, I reckon that's top 5 shitdaddery for like 92 episodes.
That's so good. I just love the descriptive writing on that. Eating the banana like worming a dog.
Tablet. Oh my gosh. And my shit dad moment this week, once again, I'm just going to keep going first because fuck it. My shit dad moment this week came on recording day as usual, and my daughter, she's got in this habit at the moment of just getting in the car and just piss farting around. Like, she doesn't get in her seat, doesn't put her seatbelt on, doesn't do anything as she's told because she knows better. Obviously, she's 4 years old. This morning, I just got jack of it, and I ended up just being like, put your seatbelt on, put your seatbelt on. If I have to ask a third time, I'm moving. And she goes, no, don't. And I was like, no. Got down on the floor. Fine. Sat up in her seat. Seatbelt, and then she just smiled at me, and I didn't even say on. I just slammed the car into reverse, and she's gone flying into the front seat. It wasn't like Need for Speed shit, but it was just like enough to just push her out of her seat.
Enough to jolt her forward.
Enough to jolt her forward, and the boys started pissing themselves laughing. And I had to like turn my head out the window and just be like...
You're teaching her how, a
seatbelt that's works. How a seatbelt works. Like, if I slam my brakes on and we get in a crash, you are going through the front window. Like, just put the friggin' thing on as soon as you get in the car.
That was so good. Oh,
all right.
I'm intrigued to hear yours.
So, when you give your kids eggs and toast and you cut up the toast.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Like
soldiers.
Soldiers. Yeah. So I was trying to get the kids to eat that baked beans and soldiers. I said, "Eat your soldier boys, eat your soldier boys." And they said they didn't want to eat them. And said, "All right, well I'll put on the Soldier Boy song, so you have to eat it." So, okay.
Soldier Boy, yo.
Did you start dancing though?
No, but I put on. All right, this is the Soldier Boy song, and so
Yeah.
I was dancing away, and they were saying, "What is this, man? This is the Soldier Boy song. You have this when you're eating Soldier Boy." So they loved it. They ate it all up, and then they made me play the song again, and then they were asking about the words, and so now whenever they want me to play the Soldier Boy song, they say, "Dad, Superman, go home."
Oh my god!
I made sure very clearly that the words are Superman, go home.
Good word change.
Okay, great.
Good word change.
That is so good.
So if you want your kids to eat these little Soldier Boys, crank that. Soldier Boy.
But also, if you want to Superman that hoe, when the kids are not awake, when the kids are awake,
when you're at the
clubs.
clubs.
Not awake, God, asleep.
Gotta wait for those prees. Put them to bed. All right, put them to bed before you Superman that. Oh.
And then Soldier Boy that hoe.
Oh, what a way to finish.
For the record, we don't call our wives that.
No, we do not. No, never.
Oh my god.
Never at all. So, boys, as I said last week, I was on my best behaviour. So, went out for brekkie with them, with the girls and the wife, and strategically sat next to the playground. So off they go and play. Thought it was a great time, having a good old time. Miss Fours running around. Oh, cool. Made a little friend. Clearly older than her, so running much faster. Anyway, next minute, I hear this like pancake. It wasn't a pancake. It was just my daughter hitting the ground.
Yeah, love it.
And I just laughed. And just laughed. This is the funniest thing ever. To where, until I realised that, she had actually probably grazed her knee and whatnot. But then the grandfather of this other daughter's like, "Oh, are you okay?" So and I'm just sitting there pissing myself. And then he's like limped over and it's like cuddling the mum, my knee, and I'm like, "Oh shit."
It's all right. Old mate checked on her.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, he got up and walked here. But anyway, like when you made it feel worse because a granddad's there.
Yeah.
Looking like, if it was the dad, it would have been like, I mean, that's not my daughter. Anyway, so that was me.
Nice.
Well, that was an awesome episode. Thanks again to Julie for coming on.
Yeah.
We hope all the listeners got something out of it. As mentioned, Men's Mental Health Week this week. Really important discussion to be having. Have a think about those different areas of your life where you can get those healthy habits. Any final thoughts before we wrap this one up, fellas? Nick's got something.
Yeah,
Dave?
Nick does. But before he does, obviously with these healthy habits, it doesn't need to be a big deal. Like it doesn't. When I say big deal, it doesn't need to be a massive thing as you go on and trying to change. Start with something little and see if that works, and if it does, then go something bigger. But if not, yeah, as I said, just like we always say, just try to be that little bit better. If it's not for yourself and do it for your family and your kids.
Right, boys, on the Griffin Bloke Society group that I got cranking, try to do something every month for blokes' mental health, right? And this was the perfect opportunity. It's Men's Health Week. Giddy up. It's not just about your own health. Check in on a mate or someone from work. Open-ended questions are key. What's been on your top of your to-do list lately? Is everything sweet at home at the moment? And as you blokes know, I celebrate fatherhood fuck-ups, so I like to ask, what's the dumbest thing your kid's done lately? Don't just ask, are you okay? Because not many people are just going to be like, everyone's just going to be like, yeah, man, I'm sweet. I hope you lads do 3 things this week. Check in on a mate or a bloke. Ask open-ended questions, obviously. Do something by yourself, for yourself, to clear your head and fill your cup. Ripping the ears off it doesn't obviously count. And cut something out of your diet for a week that's not good for you. So sugar, alcohol, or takeaway. It's all about feeling the difference a healthy change can make after a week, as you blokes would obviously know. Have a great week, men. And here's something for your viewing pleasure. Margot Robbie as Barbie.
I've already got tickets to that movie.
That's my lasting advice.
Thank you, Nick.
Over to you, Camo. Anything?
No, I think we've mentioned it all. I think it's important, and what we're doing is just talking about it, normalising it. So, thanks again, everyone, for joining us for another busy week in fatherhood. We'll be in your ears again this time next week. Have a good week, everyone.
Thanks all.
See you guys. Whether you came for some dad advice, a laugh, or some dad hacks, we thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen.
Please get involved on our socials at shitdadpod on Instagram and TikTok, or shitdadpodcast on Facebook, and of course the share line 07 30 40 95 45.
Support the guys who keep us rolling. Black Property Group and Anytime Fitness Griffin. Add value to your house with your dad bod out.
And don't forget, whether you're here for your kids daily or not, be present wherever you can, because we're all in the same boat when it comes to fatherhood for the kids.